There is a whole lot to unpack here in Balboa Park right at this point. Let's get started. That moaning, sighing. That is the Aerospace Museum. It was the Ford exhibit at 1932 exhibition here. If you can see down that way, there's like a little road goes off that way, goes around the end, comes out over here. That was a drive through California. So you drove a little around in a little Ford car, said, "Oh, look, desert, oh, look, other stuff." So you can see in front there's an SR-71, and you can see the Delta Dart. Now, the SR-71 is relatively new. I'm not sure how new it is, but I'm at least a decade, at least. The Delta Dart there was an attempt at a supersonic seaplane. Those are skids on the bottom. San Diego pause. San Diego pause is very important for the Starlight, which is over in the other direction. We're going to talk about in a second. Delta Dart was tested here in Mission Bay. It flew like 3 times and they gave up. They decided it wasn't worthwhile. One of them might have crashed. I don't know. Aerospace Museum, except for the small exhibits they have every once in a while. Right now, it's Space Our Greatest Adventure. It's pretty much unchanged since I remember going in it the first time. And it still has the murals of the history of transportation that were on the walls when it was the Ford exhibit in the 30s. And that's pretty cool. Over here is the Automotive Museum. Automotive Museum is not very interesting from the outside. See, there's some things. I believe the front door is that over there. There used to be like a 30s style red truck, 30s, probably 20s, like Model T, I guess, and the liner notes for the Gorilla demo, one of the demos, one of the pictures is from that. I don't think it made it into the actual demo sleeve, but one of the pictures we took for it was from there. We came here, me and Brandon, Eric Beckman, and we tried to find cool things to take pictures of us on, and that was one of them. Let's see, over there, recital hall. I think that is where they have the puppet shows. I think it was that one. I was in that one recruiting for Caltrans once. It's an interesting grove of trees. They're kind of evenly spaced apart and all the same tree, which is interesting for playing games in. Then over here, this is the federal building. I'm not going to get a good shot of it. I'll come back to that. So that is the municipal gymnasium. As you can see, gymnasium. And that is where Bigger Bruce would go to sign up the Bears for softball league every couple months. Inside that, there's like 4 basketball courts or more. I assume that was like the rec center in San Diego for a long time. Because remember, this was a very small place. So, the federal building. I don't see the federal building sign that used to be there. They replaced it with the Hall of Champions sign. It's kind of sad because the Hall of Champions disappeared. So the San Diego Hall of Champions used to be over, I guess, right above the Model Train Museum. Maybe not right above it, but it was there. It's in the same building. They moved it here. It was really cool. I went into it. It was here for, I don't know, 5-10 years. I must have went into it 2015, but the old Hall of Champions, see there you can see the signs, Federal Building. There's where it used to say Hall of Champions right there. Looks like it got nasty. Hall of Champions is where I learned a couple things. My first baseball game was the day Lou Brock broke the all-time stolen bases record, which was then broken by Ricky Henderson, because, Ricky Henderson. Let's see, where should I go next? We'll go that way next. I learned that the Clippers were the second NBA team in San Diego. This is the part where if I was one of those channels that had people like them, subscribe, and make sure you join our Patreon so you get extra videos every week, I'd say, tell me in the comments what you think the other NBA team was. But I'm not gonna. They were the Rockets. The Rockets, yes, the Rockets. Now, the Rockets were undoubtedly named the Rockets because San Diego has a lot of aerospace industry, or used to, up until I was probably 10 or 20. And then they moved to Houston, where there's also a lot of aerospace, and they have, how do they call it? Ground control? Mission control for NASA. So it makes sense there too. Talk about the Starlight yet? I don't think we did. Starlight Theater over yonder. Yeah, that thing. Sure, whatever. Starlight Theater. Starlight Theater is where the San Diego Pause comes from. Starlight is directly under the flight path. Maybe not directly, but I mean, you see where we are. You've heard the airplanes. They're fun. So at the Starlight, whenever an airplane flies over, what you were supposed to do as an actor is stop exactly where you are and shut up and stay like that till the airplane goes. Now, I've heard stories that one time a person had just got on their tiptoes and a couple planes flew over. Here comes one now. A couple planes flew over and they stayed on their tiptoes for minutes. Just like hanging out on the tiptoes. Crazy. So as you can see, the Starlight is some more of the, and I'm assuming this is, actually I can't tell if this would be 19, 15, whenever, or if it was in the 30s. I think it was 1915 through 1919, our first one for the Balboa Exposition, when us in San Francisco were trying to get the World's Fair, and San Francisco beat us out, but we're like, nah, we're gonna have a party too. That's why there's a Balboa Park both in San Francisco and in San Diego, I assume. Then we had a second one after the Depression in the 30s, or before the Depression. Before the Depression in the 30s, where we pretty much reused everything. We built some new stuff, like that bad boy. So we might have built this then too, because it's right next to it. But let's see if we can get a good shot of anything. Oh, that's important. So they're rebuilding it. They always have problems, rebuilding it, keeping it afloat and stuff. I don't think I've ever seen a play there. I've seen something. It was pretty cool from what I remember from being like 5. Remember, I'm backwards right now. Let's see what we got going on here. Oh, you can see a picture of what they want to look like. That's what they want to look like after the fact. Probably what it used to look like. Let's see if I can get a shot into it. I am nowhere tall enough. It looked a lot easier from the other direction. I think I can shoot over this. Let's see. Or not. Yeah. Whatever that looks like, that's probably it right there. Alright, well, this has gone on for like, I don't know how many minutes, so I'm gonna stop it, and then if I see other stuff, I'll start it again.